Good morning, fishermen, young and old. Today I'm going to tell you how I catch, are you ready for this? Over 1,000 trout a year. That's correct. Every year, that's my goal, to catch 1,000 trout. And you wonder how I do that. Well, I'm going to tell you a few things that I've learned over 50 years of fishing for trout. And one of the first things is you got to fish where there's trout. And you say, how do you know there's trout there? What I do is if I go to a strange new stream or creek where I haven't been before, is I drive around until I see other fishermen there. They've already done the work for me. They know there's fish there. That's why they're there. So guess what? That's where I go. Now, there's various ways of fishing for trout. Fly fishing, lure fishing, live bait, casting, fly fishing. I'm not a fly fisherman, and they do catch a lot of fish, but I don't have the patience for that. I like to go there and start catching fish, and I try to catch 30 fish, and if they're really biting hard, then I'll stay for 50 a day. Do I go every day? 3, 4 times a week, sometimes early in the morning, but early in the morning to me is 9:30, 10 o'clock, because the sun's up by then and I can see better. So that's when I go. But I'm going to tell you what I use. I've watched some videos on YouTube about how these guys catch fish, and it amazes me. I know they catch fish, but my goodness, they fish for hours. If I'm there and I do 5 or 6 casts, if I don't catch a fish, I'm out of there. There's no fish there. And here's some of the things I do. I have the normal thing. I wear the boots and the vest, which I have over here. I'll show you later. But that's not what is important. What important is the fishing equipment I use. This here is called a micro. That little reel and this little pole is all you need. And if you look real close, you'll see the reflection of the line once in a while. That is 2-pound test. That's all you need. 2 pound. We're not fishing for Moby Dick, right? Or whales. We're fishing for trout. And they're what? 10, 12, 14, 16 inches long. And this 2-pound test will bring them right in. They're designed to catch fish. These. And if you see, this here is a 6-footer. I fish with 7-footers if I'm fishing a large stream or creek. And I have some 8-footers if I'm really fishing some wide ones. This is 2-pound test line. It don't matter whose it is. As you can see, it's very hard to see. I mean, you can see it because of reflection. But I'm going to take this hook off. Now, I want you to tell me if you can see that hook. I'll bring it close. Can you see it? You know what size that is? That's a 16 fly hook. A 16 fly hook. Can you see that little baby sinker on there? That's as small a split shot as you can get. And that's all you need. And it's about 12 to 14 inches above the hook. Now, I'll go over it again. 16 or 18 hooks. Early in the year, I get away with 16s, but as the season progresses, you won't get away with them. And what I fish with is live bait. Now, I didn't go to the store to buy any, so I have some fake ones. Wax worms. That are salmon eggs. And the thing about this small hook is I can put it on a wax worm. I have to put my glasses on to do this. This is just like a real one, only it's a fake one. Real ones are a lot easier, but this guy is all rubbery, and I'm not even sure I can do it with him. I just bought these to do this demonstration with, and I'm not sure I can do it with a rubber one. Let me try again. kind of hard. I guess that's why I don't use them. It's coming, but I couldn't do it. Anyways, I can take and hide the entire hook inside of a waxworm. There it is. Waxworm, and that's it. A live one, they bend around a lot easier. You could hide the entire hook inside of a waxworm. And you throw it out there, and the idea is for the sinker to bounce along the bottom, and this will float. Waxworms are lighter. They'll float up here. Sometimes you have to move it down if the water's shallow. So it's only 6 inches bossing along the bottom, and this is up here where the fish are. Most of the time, the trout are on the bottom. Sometimes they're off the bottom, but they see this going along, and the trout's right here. He'll reach right up and grab it. And as you can see, you can hardly see that line. Some people think fish just eat anything. Well, remember now, most fish are stocked fish, and they're in a contained area, and they're fed pellets, fish food, every day. And there's hundreds of them, and they just rush in and grab it. So once they're let loose in the wild, the first couple of days, they'll grab anything. You can throw probably tomato out there, and they'd probably bite if you could find one small enough. But as the season progresses, they get smarter. Remember, a fish only does 2 things. He swims and eats. I've never seen him do anything else. I've never seen him do anything but swim and eat. So after they're in them streams a while, they'll get pretty good at what they can eat and what they can't eat. In the beginning, they'll eat everything, it seems. But as the season progresses, they get a little smarter. So that's why you need to go, as they get smarter, to an 18 hook and hide it completely inside the waxworm. Because I've had them and I've seen them swim right up to the waxworm and stop and go right back down under it. Right away, I know that the hook is exposed, and they saw it. Remember, they're down there eating all the time. That's all they do. And they've been eating bugs, grubs, worms, minis, and they've never seen anything with a big shiny thing on it, so they back right away from it. So that's why I start out with a 16 early in the season. And when they start biting really hard, then I know it's time to go to an 18. Will you lose some fish with this little line? As you probably can't see it, but it's there. As you can see, it's holding up that worm. I have broken 1 or 2, I think, as the line gets old. I put new on every year because I do a lot of fishing. I probably have 5 or 6 poles, and I try to take the pole that suits the fishing. Like if I'm fishing a 5-6 foot wide stream, I don't need a 9-foot pole. But if I need to cast out there 50, 60 feet, then I take the longer one. It's the same setup on all of them. Everyone's the same setup. Now, if you don't want to fish waxworms or you can't get a hold of waxworms, you can use the same thing in a salmon egg. You can hide the entire salmon egg, the hook inside the entire salmon egg and throw it out there. You can do that. Is there other things you can use? I use power bait. And I ball up in little balls about the size of a green pea, completely hide the hook in there, throw it out. Because power bait really floats. So sometimes you need to add, we'll go with sinkers later. And you vary the height by changing where you put the sinker. And that's where it's going to float or down here. Is this the secret? Well, I try to fish where there's fish. So it's like I told you, I go where I see a crowd of guys fishing, and I go in there and I just stand there until they're upset because there's no fish. Oh, they're not biting. We see them out there. They're not biting. You mind if I give it a try? And then they'll say, what the heck are you using? And I always get them out. I'm using waxworms or salmon eggs, whichever is readily available. But I'm a waxworm fisherman. And right away, I'll make 4 or 5 casts and catch 4 or 5 fish right away. 1 or 2 of them are up there. Hey, I got to see what you're doing. Well, you got line on there. Yes, but you can't see it. You can't see it. The fish can't see it. And you say, well, how do you know when you're getting a bite? You'll know. I guarantee you, you'll know. You'll feel him on there. Boop, set the hook, bring that baby in. And then I move on, upstream, downstream. There's fish in a lot of places. Like I said, I make 5 or 6 casts. If I don't get a fish, when I think I've hit all the spots, I'm out of there. I move upstream or downstream. You know, something's wrong. Either I got the wrong bait, or there's most of the time there's no fish in there because they'll go after those waxies. And red, I use mostly red salmon eggs and yellows. And you're asking yourself, well, is this true? About 2 years ago, I went to a fishing seminar where a well-known fisherman from central Pennsylvania was putting on a seminar about fishing, how to catch fish. And he was showing all this equipment, and I thought, that's some pretty big stuff. You know, using 6-pound, 4-pound test, 8-pound tests, 10 size hooks at 12s, and I thought, there's some pretty big hooks. You must be fishing for big trout. And there is big ones out there, don't get me wrong. There's some big ones out there, and if that's what you fish for, then you need a little bigger equipment. I go out there to relax and catch some fish. You think, what do I do with 1,000 fish? Well, guess what? They're all in the stream. I catch them, I let them go. I don't keep any of them. I don't eat fish. I do it because it's fun, relaxing, and I enjoy the outdoors. And I can't be shooting, which I enjoy more, every day. So I go fishing. I take my friends with us, and they have the same equipment now. They didn't when they first started fishing with me, but after they found out I was catching a lot more fish than them, they decided to change over to this. And it's not hard. They just went to the local fishing shop. I want a micro. That's all you have to ask for. And they'll show you a micro, real light rod and a light reel. And they're not that expensive. You can buy them cheaper. You can go out for supper. They're very inexpensive. And there's lots of brands. You don't have to buy LaCroix or anything real high-end stuff, Mitchell's. There's fishing poles, rods, and reels that you can afford. And then we went fishing. And he said, I'm just going to put 4-pound test line on it. Okay. And we went. He caught fish. I caught more. Next time, he had 2-pound on. But anyways, back at this show, and they asked me, how many fish do you catch a year? And I said, well, I usually try to catch 1,000. Then by then it's September. And an old man in the front said, I fish every day, and I have a hard time catching 300. I said, sir, well, it could only be one of 2 things. He said, oh, yeah, what's that? And I said, your equipment's too large, or you fish where there's no fish. So he chuckled. Where do you fish? And of course, I told him, he said, there's where I fish. Well, let's go someday. You're right, we're going to go. So we went there, and he showed up with a fairly large pole. He had 8-pound test on it, number 10 hooks. And he was a salmon egg fisher. He had 2 salmon eggs on there, and he cast it out. And I'm watching him. Nothing's happening. He said, you give it a try. First cast, fish. Second cast, fish. Whoa. I said, here, take my pole and try it. I put a waxy on. First cast, he caught a fish. Second cast, he caught a fish. He said, you think my equipment's too big? I said, I can see your fishing line from here. If I can see it, the fish can see it. And even though we think fish are dumb, they're not. They know last time they saw something hanging out of the bait or their supper, it didn't go well for them. And by me catching them and letting them go, and all I'm doing is educating them. So the next time they are a little more cautious. And if I can catch and release 1,000 fish, that's 1,000 educated fish out there. And if I can get my friends to do that, there's always more fish. A lot of people keep them and take them home. I guess they eat them. They smell bad. I don't know how you could even eat them. So, and then you can fish them just about anywhere you want. It doesn't matter how, get it in the water. I catch them reeling them in. I catch them casting them out. You'll know. Now, when you fish these, you'll notice that a lot of fishermen hook them in the lips. When you catch them with one of these, they gobble them right down. Usually they're in the back of the mouth. So you're going to need to get yourself a good pair of, a good pair of these, so you can get in there and get that hook out without hurting the fish. And that's what you want to do. You want to get him up, take the hook out, remove the fish, get him back in the water, revive him if you have to, and let him go. Catch him another day. Another day of excitement is what I say. I'm not there to take him home and eat him. Now, guys will say, that was a big fish. That was 15, 16 inches. You sure? I'm sure. My wife, if I brought that home, she'd probably tell me who you're giving them to. So I haven't brought a fish home in, my goodness, a long time. A long, long time. I'm just there through the enjoyment. And other fishermen will say, you caught 1,000 fish. How do you eat that many? I don't eat any of them, I tell them. I'm just there to relax and to catch fish. And I don't want to tell you what my record for one day is, because it'd be hard for a lot of fishermen to believe that. And I'm going to recap everything I went over. I use waxworms and micro fishing equipment, very light. This whole thing probably weighs maybe 2 pounds. And I use number 2 pound test line, 2 pound. I know that's 2. You can just see it, but you can see that waxy hanging there, can't you? I don't use these rubber ones. I don't know why I bought them. I just did. But that is on the end of a 16 fly hook. The reason I use a fly hook is they're hollow. They're a lot lighter than a normal hook. And they'll say fly hook. And that's only in the beginning of the season. As the season progresses, I move to an 18 fly hook. Now, they come in a pack of usually 25 or 50. And yes, I go through a lot of hooks. Probably in the neighborhood, I go through 100, 200, 300 16s and twice that many 18s. But it's inexpensive. It's a hobby I like to do, and I enjoy it. Now, the other thing, remember, is fish where there's some fish. You're not going to find trout in a pond. They're a cold water, cold-blooded animal. So that's where you have to go, where the water's cold. You can fish these in calm water. You'll see a lot of guys fishing in the riffles, just above them, just below them, because that's where the fish is. That's not true. The fish are everywhere. The reason they fish there is because their line is too large, their sinker's too big, and their bait and hook is too large. In the fast-moving water, you can trick a fish. But in slow-moving water, prior to the riffles, you'll notice not very many people fish. You can go right in there and fish and throw that out there. It don't move far. You can let it set on the bottom. They're swimming around. It won't be long. Boom, fish on. Yes. And I know you're all thinking that that don't make no sense. All I'm asking you to do, if you believe me, fine. If you don't, that's fine. I'm just showing you what I use to catch 1,000 fish a year. And yes, that's my goal, to catch 1,000 fish this year. And every time I come home, I write it on my calendar. I caught 38 today. I caught 29 today. I caught 47 today. And then at the end of the month, I add them up. Fishing season in Pennsylvania starts in April. And I fish April, May, June, July, August, September. And I do go to other states and fish. I go down to West Virginia and fish the gold rush. And that's another story. And I go to Maryland and fish. I go to little places in New York and fish. Wherever I think there's trout, and I go there. And every place I go, I always get the same question. What are you using for bait? And I tell them the same thing. Sir, I don't believe it's the bait. I believe it's the size of the equipment, the size of the line, and the size of the hook. And like I said, you could put just about anything on there that you can hide the shininess of that hook. And I hide them inside a waxworm or a salmon egg or power bait. Now, I want to add one more thing. When you use power bait, they are, for some reason particular, I always take rainbow, green, and a chartreuse red, and orange. Those are the main four colors. And one of those three work every time. And once I find out which one, then I'll stick with it because it changes every day. Why that is, I have no idea. And that's just as a last resort because salmon or waxworms come usually 50 to a pack. So you buy 50 of them, and if I go someplace, I want to have backup. So I go through and drive an hour, I want to be able to fish. And once the 50 waxies are gone, and I still want to fish some more, then I'll resort to power bait. So that's the way I fish. And I hope I helped you. And you can always leave a message at the bottom and tell me you don't believe me, and that's fine. Take what you can from my videos and throw the rest away. I want you all to have a great day. I hope to see you on the streams, and God bless you all.